What's up, everybody? We are back here at sportsrecall.com today in Santa Monica, California at Westside Trading Cards and Sports Memorabilia. I'm excited because we're going to be talking to one of the best professional water skiers in the world, ranked number 7 right now, Brian Detrick. Brian's got a lot to talk to us about, his awards, his accomplishments, plus even had time when he was in college to get his degree in sports kinesiology from St. Mary's College. Pretty impressive if you ask me. But I'm going to ask him. So why don't we go inside and check it out? Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Recall, home of the fans. Today we are sitting down with none other than world champion water skier Brian Detrick. Brian, glad to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Kareem. Excited to be here with Sports Recall.
Now, the first question I have to ask, we talk to a lot of athletes here, all different sports. A lot of them tell us about, I got a real early start in my sport. How old were you when you first got in the water to do what you do?
Well, my parents first got me on a kneeboard when I was about 2 years old, and then, shortly after that, I was on double skis.
All right. 2 years old, you're on a kneeboard. I mean, there's a lot of kids that parents don't even think to put them in swim classes before they're 5.
Yeah, my parents, I first started in the water when I think I was about 4 months old. They said just trying to get comfortable in the water, and shortly did swim lessons after that. So definitely, was comfortable in the water from an early age.
Had to be. I mean, you had a head start on the competition, I'd say. So starting off in the water, learning to swim at an early age, kneeboarding and everything. How old were you, would you say, you actually kind of first stood up on, first time water skiing where you can say you were on your own 2 feet getting pulled behind the boat?
I'd say 4 years old.
Okay, 4 years old. I think I probably still had the floaties, around the arm or something like that.
Yeah, I think I had, the life jacket, which was similar flotation that I needed as well.
Yeah, but I mean, still as a pro, you wear the life jacket, but I don't know. Just hard for me to wrap my head around. But 4 years old, you get started in it. When did you first decide, or, was it your decision, your parents' decision to actually say, let's see Brian compete. Let's put him in there where, he got first, second, third place, trophies, the whole 9.
Well, I was fortunate to grow up on a man-made water ski lake, so I saw neighbors who were older were competing, and I kind of was a follower. If I saw the older ones doing something, I felt I could do it as well. So I think that helped push me, and we host a lot of local events. So that was my first event was at my house. So it was a real kind of easy transition that. To me, it was just like another day on the lake. It, wasn't a tournament necessarily, even though it was.
Got it. So almost kind of a, home lake advantage, whatever you'd want to call that. But did okay in your first couple tournaments?
Yeah, I think I did okay. Just went out there and had some fun. And like I said, I was just out there having fun, not necessarily worrying about the competition.
Right. But, I mean, the way I read it, by the time you were, 9 years old, you haven't even hit double digits on the birthday cake yet. You already won 30 tournaments and started, holding records, holding championships.
Yeah, I had, a great start and learned the fundamentals and, had a lot of successes, like you said, of being able to win tournaments and eventually qualifying for the regional championships for the Western United States, and then going on to the nationals. And my last year, the 9 and younger division, was able to win the national championships.
Brian, just like you said, commitment, focus, dedication to your craft, obviously important in any sport. But as far as skiing now, how many hours would you say you're on the water roughly in about a week?
Usually I do about 8 training sessions a week, and with the warm-up, cool-down, and then the on-the-water times, roughly an hour. So I'd probably say about 8 hours a week.
Okay. And that, I mean, so this is a daily thing, working on your craft, working on technique. My water skiing skills are, say, suspect at best. So, I mean, I wouldn't even know what you're working on, but, I mean, it's a lot of training. What kind of working out, what kind of condition do you have to have your body in, you know, outside of that? You know, is it you do a lot of weightlifting, a lot of running, a little bit of everything?
I do overall strength training, and then, you know, with a focus of core and stability, and then I've really gotten into yoga, Bikram yoga to be specific, over the last few years, and that's really, you know, I think complemented my skiing and, you know, had me healthier as well with less injuries.
Okay, so not just the strength and not just having your core right, but with the yoga, definitely your flexibility as well.
That's right.
Yoga and water skiing, you're good at everything that I am not good at. So I'll put that on my list of things to improve, something that way. Now, obviously, whether it was the yoga, whether it was something else, it's been working for you. Look at this last year in particular, your individual ranking. You made a lot of movement up that chart. So what would you say was so different about this last year for you as maybe compared to other years?
I think there was a handful of things. One would be training through the winter. I trained through the winter last year, then continuing to, you know, watch game film basically and to fine-tune and improve my technique, finding a ski that really fit the style that I was, you know, trying to ski. I found one that really complemented it, which gave me more confidence on the water and resulted in having the best, you know, performances that I've had and being very consistent. And then the mental side, I think I've improved just like in any sport. You know, when you get to the top, you know, the talent is, you know, pretty close between everybody, but that mental side is a lot of times what separates people. So I think I improved on that. And then lastly is staying healthy. You know, I have a great support team back home with muscle therapist from Strive, and then Alvin Martinez physical therapy, and then the Bikram yoga as well. So I think those combinations really kept me healthy in order to perform at the optimum level.
As far as the other guys in your sport, whether they be ranked ahead of you or behind you, what do you think sets you apart from them, or what makes you just a little bit different from them that, you know, gets you excited or feels like gives you an edge to go out there and compete against these guys? Because the same way you're gunning for them, they're gunning for you.
I would say on the water, I think the height and heart separates me. And then off the water, I would say, you know, the social media, trying to, you know, really grow the sport. And, you know, doing interviews like this that, you know, trying to get outside of the norms and really try to give more exposure to the sport.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like as somebody that's been involved in water skiing since before you could walk probably, you know, really interested not just in your own career, but in the sport as a whole. Like you said, trying to grow the sport, trying to maybe get things to go a little bit more mainstream. If you had that magic wand to wave, you know, what do you think would happen to maybe just get a little, you know, a few more people looking at water skiing or thinking about, you know, hey, even if it's not competitive, but just as a hobby, just as a fun thing to do on the weekends, maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll get out there on a lake sometime.
Yeah, I definitely think we can become mainstream, and, you know, I think a big part of that is just receiving the exposure. The more exposure, you know, people might find out about it that don't know about it right now. So getting back on TV, you know, when I was growing up in, you know, the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, you know, we had a lot of the events were on TV, whether it was ESPN or the Outdoor Channel or, you know, Travel Channel. So having avenues like those, if we can get back, you know, on TV and, you know, have bigger events to have more spectators, I think will help us go in the direction that I'd like to see. And, you know, I'm trying to push the sport to go, you know, the mainstream direction.
Definitely. Well, I know me and everybody at Sports Recall will definitely be checking you out and checking out the competitions. I know I joke a lot. I actually have tried water skiing in a fun way. Wasn't so good at it, but, you know, just more respect I got for you and guys like you that can do this competitively. Okay, Brian, you were talking about getting the sport of water skiing mainstream, and I know that you individually, you got a number of sponsors. I mean, you're one of the more recognized water skiers. What would you attribute that to?
I'd say my networking and, not only working with sponsors and companies inside the industry, but trying to think outside the box and go outside the industry and doing interviews, you know, like this, that, you know, that usually don't cover water skiing, and then, you know, the other media and social media exposure that I do as well.